안녕하세요.
The following days were a whirlwind for Alex. He spent hours in the office, dealing with the company's demands, but his mind was always on Hana. However, the pressure from his family and investors was becoming unbearable. His father, always demanding, was particularly dissatisfied with his attitude. The pressure to marry a woman from high society only increased. One afternoon, after a long meeting with the investors, Alex received a call from his mother. She invited him to dinner at their home, something he knew was an attempt to discuss his personal life and possibly pressure him even more. When Alex arrived at his parents' house, the atmosphere was heavy. His mother greeted him with a forced smile, and his father sat at the table, wearing a serious expression. "Alex, we need to talk," his father said bluntly. "You know what the family expects from you. We can't keep delaying this matter. You're old enough to make mature decisions." Alex knew where this was going. "I'm not ignoring my responsibilities, Dad," he replied, trying to remain calm. "But my personal life is important too. You can't let personal feelings interfere with business," his father insisted. "The company needs you focused, and there are women more suitable for you, Alex. Women from our class." "I understand, Dad," Alex responded. Though he felt his heart tighten, he knew the pressure would only increase, but he was determined to follow his own path. Later, as Alex left his parents' house, his mind was more confused than ever. He knew he was facing a tough battle. Every moment he thought about Hana and what she meant to him. But he also knew that the consequences of choosing against his family's wishes could be severe. Back at the office, he found Hana working late into the night. She was seated at her desk, her eyes tired but focused on her work. Alex approached her, unsure of exactly what to say. "Hana," he began, his tone softer than usual. "I need your help with something important." She looked up, surprised by the seriousness in his voice. "Of course, Mr. Park. What is it?" He hesitated, searching for the right words. I need you to help me find a way to deal with the investors. There are a lot of challenges ahead, and I need your guidance." Hana looked at him suspicious. She knew he wasn't just referring to business, but also to the pressure he was feeling from his family. "I understand, Mr. Park," she replied in a gentle voice. "But you also need to deal with what's happening in your personal life. It's affecting your focus." Alex sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I know. It's just that. I don't know how to balance all of this. My family, the company, you." Hana stood up, walking toward him, her gaze sincere. "Alex, you have to be honest with yourself. What do you really want?" He looked into her eyes, his heart pounding. "I want to be with you, Hana, but I know it won't be easy. My family won't accept it, and the investors might question my decision." Hana felt a pang in her chest at his words. She wanted to believe him, wanted to be with him, but the weight of Alex's responsibilities seemed overwhelming for both of them. I don't know what's best either, Alex, but I know we can't keep dragging this out. You need to make a choice." He gazed at her, sadness deep in his eyes. "I've already made my choice, but now I need to figure out how to face the consequences." The silence between them was heavy. They both knew they were risking everything, but what they were starting to realize was that, at the same time, they were gaining something much more precious, the chance to be truly happy, even if it meant fighting against the world. The conflict between Alex and his family had reached its boiling point. He knew that what he was about to do would change his life forever. Every conversation with his parents, every meeting with the investors, felt like a battlefield where he could no longer hide. His love for Hana was genuine, and he was ready to fight for her, but the pressure on his shoulders was becoming unbearable. One afternoon, Alex was caught off guard by an unexpected visit to his office. It was his mother, accompanied by one of the family's longtime friends. As she entered his office, he immediately realized that this was not going to be an ordinary conversation. "Alex," his mother said in a firm tone, "it's time to discuss your options. We know you're in a difficult situation, but your happiness cannot be based on impulsive choices." The family friend, a sophisticated and smiling woman, stood beside her. "I have a daughter, Seojin. She is exactly what our family needs, Alex. Smart, ambitious, and with the right connections." Alex looked at his mother, frustration evident on his face. "Mother, I've already told you I will not marry out of obligation. I've made my decision." His mother met his gaze, her eyes shimmering with a mix of disappointment and concern. "And do you really think you can be happy with a woman like that? She's not on the same level as you, Alex. Don't think this won't affect your image or the business." Alex rose from his chair, his expression now unreadable. "I can't live my life trying to please everyone. I don't want a woman who is just a figure standing beside me. I want someone with whom I can truly be myself." The tension in the room was suffocating, but Alex knew he couldn't back down. He was already committed to his choice, and that meant that even if he had to sacrifice his family's approval, he would move forward. Meanwhile, Hannah was facing her own dilemma. She knew things were becoming increasingly complicated. She felt the weight of the situation, not just from his family's reaction, but also from the internal pressure she was feeling. She didn't want to be the reason Alex lost everything. But at the same time, her heart was at war with her mind. She knew he was facing an even greater inner conflict. One night, as he worked late, she entered his office. "Alex," she said, her voice soft but filled with concern, "I don't want you to lose your family and your career because of me." He looked at her, the pain visible in his eyes. "Hannah, you don't understand. I would rather lose everything than lose you. I can't live a life without what truly matters." She stepped closer, her hand gently brushing against his. I don't know if I can be the reason you give all of this up. You have a brilliant future ahead of you, Alex. I can't be an obstacle." He grasped her hand firmly, refusing to let her go. "You're not an obstacle. You are my choice, and I will fight for you, for us." At that moment, Hannah felt a wave of relief, mixed with the fear of the unknown. She knew their lives would never be the same again. But there was something about Alex, something in the way he looked at her, that made her believe that despite all the challenges, they could overcome anything. The next morning, Alex called a meeting with the company's most important investors. He knew that by doing this, he was making his intentions irreversibly clear. When the executives arrived, he was already prepared for what was to come. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his voice steady, "there is something very important that I need to tell you. The course of my personal life will influence the direction of this company. I am no longer the man you once knew, and I choose to live my life with the woman I love, Hannah." The room fell into absolute silence. Some eyes were filled with disapproval, others with surprise, but Alex was resolute. No matter what it took, he would not turn back. He was ready to face whatever came next. The days following the meeting with the investors were intense, but they also brought a sense of relief. Alex knew the future was uncertain, but with Hannah by his side, he felt he could face anything. The investors' response was mixed. Some questioned his decisions, while others were willing to support him, trusting in his vision and determination. He was ready to change his life, but it wasn't just his own life at stake, it was Hannah's as well. That morning, Alex and Hannah sat in a small cafe near the company's headquarters, a place where they often met during breaks. Hannah stared at her coffee, trying not to appear nervous, though a storm of emotions swirled inside her. She knew Alex's life was now intertwined with hers, and the weight of that responsibility scared her. "I can't thank you enough for trusting me," she said softly, looking up at him. He smiled warmly, placing his hand over hers on the table. "There's nothing I wouldn't do for you. As long as you're by my side, nothing can stop me from being happy." She returned his smile, though worry still lingered in her eyes. "What about your family? And the business? Everything you've built?" Alex took a deep breath, feeling the gravity of the situation. But then, with a confident smile, he answered, "I know it will be difficult, but true happiness doesn't come from financial success. It comes from staying true to who you love and who you are. And you are my happiness, Hannah." Hannah was at a loss for words. His words resonated deep within her heart, and the tension she had been feeling began to fade. She knew the road ahead would be tough, but if Alex was willing to fight for her, she would face the challenges with him. The following weeks were an emotional roller coaster. Alex faced ongoing battles with his family. His father, though disappointed, couldn't ignore the strength with which Alex stood up for his own happiness. Their relationship changed, and though it wasn't easy, Alex no longer allowed himself to be controlled. Hannah, on the other hand, faced skepticism from some of Alex's closest business associates. Her position in the company was low, and many questioned whether she was capable of handling the responsibility of standing beside such a powerful man. However, she remained calm and dignified, slowly earning the trust of Alex's team by demonstrating her skills and intelligence. Hannah was more than just a secretary, she was a strong and capable woman. The turning point came when Alex's company faced an internal crisis. A corporate rivalry forced him to make a series of difficult decisions, and he had to rely on those around him for support. It was Hannah who suggested a strategic approach that ultimately became the key to saving the company. She used her knowledge to negotiate a deal that benefited both Alex's business and the investors, proving her worth to everyone, including those who had doubted her. Her respect within the company grew instantly, and during a major meeting, Alex made the announcement that everyone had been anticipating. Hannah would not only become the new chief operating officer, but also his partner in every aspect of his life. He did this to prove that she was his equal, not just an employee or a secretary. A person's true worth isn't measured by their job title, but by the impact they make on the world, Alex said confidently. Hannah has been a crucial part of our success and of my personal success. The room fell silent, but soon applause echoed throughout. Hannah looked at Alex, her eyes shining with emotion, knowing that she had not only earned respect, but also true acceptance. Months later, Alex and Hannah were living together, free from the pressures of business meetings and family expectations. The love they shared was no longer hidden. They began planning their future together, including marriage and children. Hannah knew their journey wouldn't always be easy, but she also knew that, with Alex by her side, she would never have to choose between love and her career. They had found balance, and that was all that mattered. On the morning of their wedding, as Alex stood beside Hannah, he couldn't help but smile. They had overcome so much, and now they were ready to build a new life together. It was the beginning of something far greater than any wealth or material success he had ever achieved. And now? Hannah asked with a shy smile as they walked toward the altar. Now, Alex said, his smile radiant, this is the beginning of our happiness.